we've got a legislator in Missouri, and of course he's a Republican, he's a state representative, Warren Love, and he's very mad that an unidentified vandal threw paint on a Confederate memorial that was in the Springfield National Cemetery. Now, do I think that they should have done that? No, I don't think they should have done that. First of all, I think the monuments should be in places like cemeteries. I think that's fine. I don't want them on public land. I don't want them in front of our courthouses or our state houses. I don't want them anywhere near the law. I don't want them as intimidation of African Americans. But I think that putting them in a cemetery makes sense, and don't take the law into your own hands. So when Representative Love says this is totally against the law, I agree with him. And if he had left it at that, of course, there'd be no issue at all. But he didn't leave it at that. He just couldn't help himself. So he added on top, I hope they are found and hung from a tall tree with a long rope. National Veterans Cemetery in Springfield, Missouri. Okay. Did it escape your attention, the lynchings that happened of African Americans, and in fact the things that the Confederates stood for and celebrated? And don't say they didn't. If a slave ran away, they would be lynched. The Confederacy wanted to protect slavery. They wrote it in almost everything they said. It was for slavery. And if you think it was for states' rights, it was for the state right to hold slaves. And part of holding slaves against their will is that you murder them if they disobey you. So I'm going to show you some disturbing pictures, but this is why it's important to have this context, because when a guy like this in today's America in 2017 saying that people who are so offended by Confederate monuments that they do something they shouldn't have done, but it's just paint, it's not actual human beings' lives, that they should be caught, and for what, a misdemeanor, should be hung by the neck. Let me show you what hanging by a neck looks like. That was a lynching from back in the day, unfortunately, not as long back as we would like. Here's another one. This is what it looks like when you are found and hung from a tall tree with a long rope, as Representative Love said, and one last one. And it is incredibly disturbing to look at, but yes, that is what happened in America. So when you reference it, it is disgusting, and you should be reprimanded for that. And you know, from time to time, the right wingers say, "Oh well, he's got freedom of speech." Yes, he does, but he doesn't have the right to represent all the people in his district, and he doesn't have the right to say outrageous things like this and then be popular and then be approved and be reelected. So if you live in his district, understand what this man's about. So then, of course, realizing, well, I might have made my racial animus a little too obvious, he tries to walk it back in an absurd way. He says, oh, lynchings, no, it's got nothing to do with lynchings. He says, that was an exaggerated statement that, you know, a lot of times is used in the Western world when somebody does a crime or commits theft. That's just a Western term, and I'm very much a Western man. You know, I wear a coat, you know, I dress Western, and you know, I'm the cowboy of the Capitol. All right, you take it any way you like. If you think that he thought he was celebrating the hangings of people who stole things in the West, first of all, that's not such a great thing either. But in the context of an attack on a Confederate monument, if that's not what he intended, he has a funny way of showing it. And boy, is he enormously ignorant if that is not his intention. Either way, it was a terrible thing to say. And yes, it matters. Yes, it matters if you deeply offend people because of what their ancestors went through. And not ancestors from thousands of years ago, but their grandparents and some of their parents were terrorized by this in their lifetimes. So just be a little bit more decent. It's not too much to ask for. If you like the Young Turks, you'll love Young Turks membership. tytnetwork.com/join.